Hello, good day. Alright, so I'll be talking to us about effective communication. So, this is the recorded session I promised to send to us. Now, what's the overview of this course? This course is designed to equip listeners with the knowledge, skill, and confidence needed to communicate clearly, confidently, and effectively in academic, professional, and everyday contexts. Now, what is the objective of this training? The objective is that by the end of this training, teenagers should be able to understand what effective communication means, identify different types of communication, practice active listening skills, express themselves clearly and confidently, use body language, handle disagreement respectfully, communicate responsibly online, avoid common communication mistakes. Now, what is communication? Communication is simply sending and receiving of message. So before I can say that communication has happened, an information or a message must have been passed, and then someone would have received that information or message. Then we can say communication has happened. Now, what is effective communication? Effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It is about understanding the emotions and intention behind information, as well as being able to clearly convey a message. You need to also listen in a way that gains the full meaning of what is being said and make the other person feel heard and understood. It is not about speaking, it is about listening. Misunderstanding comes from not being able to communicate effectively. Now, the concept of effective communication is to help you understand that humans are not just intellectual, they are also emotional. So, when you are speaking to people, you have to identify that they also have emotions and they can speak from their emotions. So it helps you to pay attention to people, not just listen to what they are saying, but you pay attention to their emotions, their body language, and what is not even being said. You can hear all those things. So once you are able to understand more than just what someone is saying. You can hear their tone of voice, you can feel the message they are passing. Then we can now say that you are communicating effectively. And then once you've received that information, then you can respond to that information again in a certain way. Then we can say you have communicated effectively. Now, what are the elements of effective communication? There are about 10 elements of effective communication, but we'll be discussing 6 basic elements. The first element is the sender. That's the person that owns the information. The second element is the message. This is the content of the information. Now, you may have the best message, but the person at the receiving end will understand it at the detriment of their emotion, prejudice, misconception, and pre-beliefs. So it is possible for you to have the very beautiful message, but someone that is listening to that message now, it is left for that person to understand it in different ways. It's coming to that person, the state of mind at that moment will determine how he's going to respond to that message or how he's going to understand it. His belief, his ideas, his culture, all those things contribute to how someone can receive a message. Now, the third element is medium. This medium means it can be either verbal, non-verbal, It can be direct or indirect. Now, when there is a third party, when you are communicating a message, the real message will not be passed. This is how miscommunication happens. The more people involved, the more the authenticity of the information reduces. I wish that this was a live session and would have been able to put this to practice. Let's say we have about 10 different students. I would say something and then tell them to pass the message to themselves. And then when we get to the last person, you see that somehow there is a change in the information. It would have drift. The true meaning will no longer be there. I've witnessed this in practice life and I understand what can happen when there are so many things involved, so many people passing information around. Okay. Now the other element is receiver. Okay, because if you're having a sender, we must have a receiver. So the receiver is the person that receives the information. So number 5 is understanding. This is usually where most of the problem come from and people tend to miscommunicate. Now, failing to properly understand a message by paying attention to the tone, the body language, the individual point of view and the intention. So when we say you understand a message, it means that you must have fully grasped all these aspects as well. That's you must have paid attention to the tone, you must have seen their body language and the individual point of view. So recently I saw something online, it was a Facebook content. They were teaching young boys about consent. Consent, that's if a lady says no, that's when someone is saying no. So they did a very practical example. um let's say the guy is asking the lady that he wants to hug her and then she said okay, but her body language was saying no. So the instructor asked the children, is that a yes? That's not a yes, because even though her mouth was saying yes, her body was saying no. So I think that's one practical example for you to understand what this means of understanding someone's message. So someone might be saying something, but their body language is saying otherwise. Now, for you that is taking this course, it is now for you to look beyond. It's now for you to look beyond just the words, or not to just hear words. You you are not only hearing with your ears, you also see as well. You can see, you can feel, and that's the way understanding can come. Okay. Now the sixth element of effective communication is response. So I explained it as a feedback. So once I ask you a question, for instance, how are you? So your response is I am fine. So if you want to go further, you can say and you. So if someone is talking to you and you are not giving a response, it is communication has not happened. Okay. So now we are going to be talking about active listening skills. Okay, so before we go into active listening skills, let's quickly talk about verbal communication. This module is supposed to be verbal communication. I didn't correct that. So what is verbal communication now? It can be the use of spoken and written word. Yes. So it's not just alright, so verbal communication is not just spoken words. It can also be written word as well. To be able to to be effective during verbal communication, you need number one, clarity. So when you are speaking, you don't mumble, you speak clearly and loud. Don't swallow your word. I am sure that you must have come across people that swallow their word. If they are speaking, you can't hear them clearly, you don't understand what they are saying. Sometimes most people that try to form accents, they do that a lot and they are struggling to hear what they are saying. They're not speaking clearly. They are not bringing out those words very well that you hear. So you have to be clear. And then the other one is tone and intonation. Now, it can be confident, it can be shy, it can be joyful, it can be angry, it can be authority. I'm very sure that all of us, we can identify when someone is speaking with joy. Yes, and you can identify when someone is angry. When they are speaking, you understand when they are angry, and then you can understand when someone is speaking with authority as well. So those are the different tone. Now the other one is body language. Body language includes facial expression, gesture, and posture. So your facial expression says 1,000 words more than even what you are saying. So you might be saying you are happy and then you have a frowned face. You are passing a different message. Okay? Or you might say you are sad but you are smiling, like very joyful and genuine smile. You are passing a different message. So your facial expression speaks as well. Then when we come to gesture, you know the different kind of gesture we have, like waving, thumbs up, clapping, those different kind of gesture. Then we have posture. I wish this was something you can see my face and I will demonstrate this better for you. But for the posture, we have a when you are speaking to someone and they are interested, you would know they will maintain an open arm posture. But when you are speaking to someone and they are not interested, they will fold their hands. It is, yes, they'll fold their hands. It shows disinterest and it shows that they're not interested in that conversation. Now, the other one is maintain eye contact. Don't look down or completely look away. So in Africa, let me just say in Africa, most times is they term it as disrespect to look at when an elder is speaking to you, you look at the person, they'll always be like look down, don't look at that. That thing alone is something that they use to kill our confidence, because looking down when someone is speaking, it shows that you are not confident. There is a way you look at someone and it shows interest and it is not disrespect. You can look at someone when they are speaking, it's not disrespect. It shows that you are interested. But it's not as if you just fix your gaze directly on that person. There's a way you do it. And don't completely look away. There's a way you even completely look away and it's also it's disrespect. Okay, so when you are speaking, you make sure to maintain eye contact. That's how you connect with people. Now the other one is active listening. So we will be explaining active listening separately, so I'm not going to talk much about it now. The other one is avoid interruption. So it is considered rude to interrupt people when they are still speaking. So during verbal communication, if someone is speaking and then you just cut the person in the middle of that conversation and start saying, like, it's disrespectful and most times it kills interest. It kills interest. So the other one is reflective response. Now, this is how reflective response work. You listen You pay attention, you analyze before you respond. I was saying something the other day. I said some people respond before they think, which is very bad. Once an information is landing on your brain, or once you are hearing an information, you are just so eager to respond without thinking. And then sometimes after you've given that response, you now start doing the thinking. You now realize that there are some things that you should have not say. So when someone is speaking, before you can respond, you have to listen, you have to pay attention, look at the body posture, look at the hear the tone, all those things. Then you now analyze it in your brain, think about it a little before you can give a response. Now, as humans, our brain is very powerful. You can do this under a short period of time. Yes. So don't say, Esther, do you mean that if someone speak to me, I should take like 2 minutes and think before I respond? No. Our brain is actually wired like very, very fast. But what I'm trying to say is that don't be too quick to respond. Just pause a little, understand, digest the information before you give a response. Okay? So the other one is ask question. So don't just say okay, yes. It show that you are interested. For example, someone is trying to have a conversation with you, and then the only thing you have to say is okay. Someone just finished sharing an exciting moment with you. They share their experience, maybe they traveled, they came to tell you about it, and then you say okay. You've killed their interest, and that person might no longer want to have interaction with you. So when someone is talking to you, try to ask question as well. It shows that you are interested in what has that person is saying. Now, types of verbal communication. So we have public speaking, for example, campaign, public events, or small groups. So what public speaking is, that standing before a group of people, and the speaker is usually on the stage and then is speaking. Most times it's not interaction, it is more of like you passing information. But if you are a very good speaker, you will know how to hook your audience, you know how to get their interest. So I'm going to give you an example. You must have listened to people speak, that you are captivated by the way they speak, and then every word they say hits you strongly, and you don't lose interest easily. Why for some other people, the moment they start speaking, you lose interest. You are not interested in that, you just get tired and get bored. So it depends. So public speaking is a skill on its own, and that one is a separate topic. So we have another type, which is interpersonal communication. That's communication with yourself, e.g. self-evaluation. Now this is not running mad. Yes, it is not. And this is like the rarest form of communication. I know most people have this type of communication in their head with themselves a lot, but most people don't have time to communicate with themselves. You don't have time to reflect, to think, to evaluate yourself, to check. Maybe at the end of the day, you say, okay, what did I say wrong today? What did I do? What are the things I got right today? What are the things that worked? The things that did not work? You check, and then you evaluate yourself. So that's how you grow. Okay. So we have interpersonal communication, that's between two people. Now, what is the importance of communication, verbal communication to be precise? The importance of verbal communication is that it is very useful in negotiation. Now, if you are negotiating, it is better to use verbal form of communication, because sometimes it's not easy to do negotiation while you are writing, like you type. It's not very easy to flow. But if you are speaking to someone directly on a call, it is easier. Okay. Now, the another importance is that you get quick response as you are speaking, the person is responding to you. The other one is that you build connection between people. That's it builds connection between people. So we'll be talking about non-verbal communication. You must have heard this phrase that says actions speak louder than words. So we are going to be seeing that in non-verbal form of communication. So this is not using words to communicate. So the types are facial expression. Now I had to break facial expression from body language because I want to explain facial expression differently for you. Now, facial expression is your facial expression can tell if you are excited, it can tell if you are tired, it can tell worry, if you are worried, all that. And some people that are very, very smart, they can quickly read. Yes, they can, when they see someone from their face, you can tell. It's not even about being very smart. It is easy unless you are not a sensitive person and you ignore things a lot. It is easy to tell if someone is sad or if someone is happy or someone is weary from their face. Now the other one is body language. Like we said earlier, your body language can communicate confidence, it can communicate interest. For example, open hand communicates interest, then folded hand communicates no interest and defensiveness. Alright, so we also have gestures. That's I made mention of this: thumbs up, waving, pointing. Then we have eye contact. Now, looking at someone shows interest and sincerity. If you've watched a movie that involve investigation, now when someone is trying to get an information, when the investigator is trying to get an information from the suspect, they they look at you directly into your eyes, and then sometimes you are forced to say the truth. Yes. So if someone cannot look at you, that's how it is. If someone cannot look at you and say something, sometimes it shows that they are not sincere. Yes, and it shows they are not interested as well. Then we have tone. Your tone can show fear, it can show anger, it can show excitement or sarcasm. Okay. Now, what is the advantage of non-verbal communication? It is universal. That is, it can be understood in any part of the world. People understand, anyone can understand a smile and anyone can understand a frown as well. Then it enhances clarity. Okay. Then it complements spoken words, and then it reveals sincerity or sarcasm. Alright, so we'll be talking about active listening skills. Active listening skills. Now, listening is a skill and it can be practiced and mastered. So it's not just about speaking. Most times people learn how to speak fluently, but they don't learn how to listen. There are a lot of bad listeners. they can speak fluently, they can they are clear, their intonation, everything is right, but they are bad listeners. If you are with those kind of people, you get tired because all they do is they speak, but they will never allow you to speak, and they will never give you the chance. They will not even listen to you. All they want to do is to just speak. Now, so how can you be a good listener? So these are the qualities. A good listener pays attention. So when someone is speaking to you, you put down your phone or books. If you are reading a book and someone is trying to have a conversation with you, you drop the book or the phone, unless you don't want to have that conversation at that time. You can just say that you are not interested. But if you are going to have a conversation and then you are looking at your phone, it does not show that you are a good listener. Then a good listener asks questions. You don't guess. You don't um you don't just assume. Yes, assumption is very bad. You ask question. Then a good listener would make small utterances that you would nod your head like you do, okay, really nice. So don't just stare at someone, don't just look bluntly, okay? So a good listener would respond, that's respond to what the person just said. Now, keep the focus on them. So this one is when someone is speaking, keep the focus on them. Don't try to start thinking of an answer immediately in your head. Just keep the focus on them. Once they are done, then you can now give a response. Okay? Because if you are trying to think of what to answer them immediately, you might be distracted. Yes, so let's say someone is telling you about their experiences, and then the next thing is that you are already thinking about your own experiences you want to share with the person as well. You might miss the details. Yes, you might not get the full information as well. Okay. Alright, so we'll be talking about speaking with confidence. Now, Dale Carnegie, he says, this is one of my favorite quotes. When I'm teaching public speaking, I always share this quote. He says, a speaker that is not prepared does not deserve to be confident. This thing is very powerful because let's say you are going to give a presentation. Somehow, at one point in your life, you would have to face crowd, you would have to face people to speak. Something would happen that you'd have to give a presentation or something. If you are not prepared, if you've not done your research, if you've not put your materials together, you don't deserve to be confident. What you deserve is stage fright and fear. Yes, because confidence can come from preparing. There's a point at which you prepare, it builds your confidence. When you know what you want to say, you are confident in yourself. Okay. Now, that's before you go to speak. Let's say you are having a presentation. If the first thing you have to do is to understand the topic, okay? Then research to gather possible and useful information. Then you add quotes, add fun facts and real data. This is very, very powerful in public speaking because when you see that when some people are speaking, you just want to write something down. They'll just give you one fact or one data that probably you've not heard about before, and then you want to take it down. So that is what makes your speaking interesting. Alright, so you add quotes, fun facts and real data. So when you are speaking, you make sure to add quotes. Like the way I added this quote, you make sure to add fun facts, something that will interest people, and then you make sure to add real data like number and all those things. Like for example, let's say they say 10% of the world population is this. Those type of things to capture people interest. Okay. Then use storytelling. Storytelling is one very powerful way of speaking. Storytelling, and people are usually interested in story. Once you can tell story very well, people you get people attention. Okay. Now we're going to module 6, which is handling difficult conversations. So when you are having a conversation with someone and then there tends to be a misunderstanding, the person is not getting what you are saying clearly, or they are understanding it based on their emotional states and their pre-belief, like we said earlier, their convictions and all. Do not respond with a harsh tone. Don't be tempted to respond with a harsh tone. Don't shout. I feel this is one of the most difficult things to do. When you are angry, you are tempted to shout. What is happening when people are having a conversation? It is not that they become deaf. Is that they start to misunderstand themselves. So they feel that they can no longer hear each other, and then they decide to raise their voice and start shouting. So personally, I do not like when someone is speaking to me and then you are shouting, because I tend not to listen anymore. I used to say it a lot. I say the moment you shout, I no longer listen. So you can speak to someone without shouting. It is very possible, even if you are angry. Even if you're angry. That's what to show that you are a very good communicator. If you can speak even when you are angry, and then you still have that composure to not shout. Okay. So then the other thing is, make sure you are calm before you speak. Sometimes if you're angry, just the best thing to do is not to speak. Just keep calm. And then if you want to address that situation, make sure that you are calm before you speak. Okay. Stay calm. Don't shout or insult. This is one key thing. Don't use foul language. Don't insult people. No matter how they must have offended you, try your best not to use foul language. Okay? Then use I statements. For example, I feel upset when, let's say I feel upset when you do this. Maybe someone took, let's say you're in class, someone carried your book without your permission. You can go to the person and say, I feel upset when you do this, when you take my book without my permission. Instead of saying, you are always doing this, why are you? See, people do not like getting attacked. There is this book I read, How to Win Friends and Gain Influence. Yes, How to Win Friends and Gain Influence. It says that when you point out people's mistakes to them directly, they tend to become defensive, and then even if they are wrong, they will not want to admit it. They will not want to admit it. Instead, they will become defensive, and then they will even do more things to annoy you. Okay? So and then the last one is respect different opinions. Do not always be the one that is right. You are not Mr. Right or Mrs. Right or Miss Right. You are not always right. People have contrary opinions, and then sometimes people are also right and you can be wrong as well. So when you're having a conversation and then you stated a fact and someone tries to correct you, don't just say no, this person is wrong, this person is wrong. Stay calm, go back, do your research. It might be that you are wrong or the person is wrong, either ways, but respect different opinions. Now, communicating in a digital world, think that's communication online. So think before posting or sending messages. Most times, aside from grammatical errors and bad punctuations and everything, people tend to post things and that they later regret. And people have posted things that have landed them in jail, and people have posted things that have landed them in court, and they've paid a lot of money because of what they said. Before you can post anything online or before you send a message to anybody, think about it. You can even go through the stress of reading it as many times as possible to make sure that there is nothing that someone is going to use to hold you. Okay? Then avoid in misunderstanding in text. That as well. Avoid misunderstanding in text. Now, I feel that one of the way people can have misunderstanding very easily is through text message, because most times when I'm writing a message, you tend to respond to me based on your current emotions. You don't know, you can't hear my tone. You don't know the state of mind at which I'm using to send that message to you. You might read it in a different tone and give it a different meaning from what me I'm trying to say. I feel that's why we have emojis, and those emojis are sometimes there to help you express emotions. Some of you don't know how to use emojis. You don't know how to use emojis. That's another thing. If you are sending a message and you feel that it's not going to what you are writing is not bringing clarity, you can add an emoji to increase the clarity of your message. Probably you are joking, and then not everybody knows how to take a joke. You might add an emoji to indicate that you are joking. Do you understand? So that is it. Be respectful online. No bullying. No bullying. Cyber bullying is very wrong. Someone puts out a picture of themselves, and then the next thing you go out and talk about the camera quality. Yeah, is it POS you used to snap this picture? You just kill people's spirits, or you body shame. You talk about people body. It is very wrong as well. Now, common communication mistakes. Number one, we have interrupting. I said this earlier and I explained it. When someone is speaking and then you interrupt, very bad. Then we have assuming instead of asking. Don't assume things. Don't assume. If you are confused about something, ask questions. Don't just assume and then make a conclusion in your mind about something. Then the other one is poor listening. You've learnt about active listening skills. So poor listening is another mistake. The other one is negative tone. That's another one. Then we have overreacting. So the someone might say something that you don't even, the kind of reaction and the kind of meaning you give to it does not even really, it has not gotten to that extent, but you overreact. Everything is as if it's an attack on you. It's you that they are talking to. It's you that you are overly sensitive. Okay, so overreacting is not good. So I added this activity game. If if we were to have, if this was live, we would have done this game, which is the interruption game. But you can try this as well with your friends. That's focus, that's bad communication habits, how to play. One student shares a story, then the other are instructed to interrupt, distract, or ignore. So lesson, they feel the difference between poor and good communication. So um the other game here is spot the mistake game. So identify bad communication. So someone will speak, then you identify bad communication and then what went wrong. The other game would be 60-second spotlight. I feel that you can do this on your own as well. That's the focus is on confidence and clarity. So I want you to do this. Pick a topic. Pick any topic of your choice, what you are most comfortable about speaking, and then go and do a research about that topic. Do a research, practice it, and then speak. Even though you don't have an audience, speak, record yourself. So this is how it's done. Um, you record yourself while speaking, then you listen to the audio of you speaking, then you reduce the volume, and then you watch yourself speak without volume. So that's going to help you to like pay attention to your body language and all. Then you drop your phone down, cover your phone, and then listen to only your voice. It's going to help you to pay attention to clarity and see if you are speaking clearly. Help you pay attention to your tone as well. So the last game is guess the tone. So tone of voice. So this you can try it with your friends as well. That's you would try this different tone of voice and then someone else will interpret it. Alright, so that's all for this particular training on effective communication. I hope you had learned a lot from this and I hope you would practice as well. So this is not just for you to listen, it is also for you to put them to practice and share the knowledge with other people. I feel that if more people can learn about communicating effectively, the rate of misunderstanding and quarrels will reduce very well. It will reduce. Alright, so that's all. Um I think I want us to this 60-second spotlight. I want you to try it. If possible, you can send the video to me or send the video to the group. Do a 60 seconds video of yourself speaking about a particular topic. Yes, and then send it to the group so that we can assess you and see if you've understood everything we said and everything that I have taught. Okay. Alright, so do have a great day.